Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space. And as always, I hope that you enjoy.
Final Orders by user YoshiiMan from Reddit. I am Asphalt. My real name is Deltoid Dynamics HK58, Robotic Assault Trooper ID 3853-5192, Sigma, or DDHCat 3853-5192 Sigma for short, property of the United Worlds. Yet I am Asphalt, name for the warbot that fell into a pile of asphalt, which was me, DDHCat 3853-5192 Sigma. There was no reason for the human soldiers to call me that. They could have just called me Bot or Droid, but no. Asphalt would become my new name, and in time would become my true name. I remember the soldier who first called me that, Private Second Class Rigby Martez, his smile and laughter, and the rest of the squad who laughed at my unfortunate state, with the asphalt making me look like some villain from a child-friendly holo series. That was the first time I felt embarrassment, confusion, and most importantly, happiness. The laughter came from Domino Squad, a group of misfits who had become my first squad, and technically speaking, my first family. I remember that deployment with a fond spot in my hot reactor core, yet sadly they would not be in the world of the living not very long after that pleasant event. They were all effectively killed when 2 surface-to-air missiles struck our dropship. Their fate sealed, and so was mine, to watch them fall like dominoes. The first missile, striking the bottom section of the dropship, immediately killed Sergeant Hannah Wilberg, the shrapnel of the missile impaling itself into her upper chest, killing her instantly. I added her to the list of squad KIAs. Another soldier, Private Bob Stewart, was immediately thrown out of the dropship from the sudden breach. Considering that we were at an altitude of 19,000 meters, he would soon perish too. I added him to the list of squad KIAs. The second missile detonated above the dropship's left thruster, forcing the dropship into a rapid spiral. The resulting debris and shrapnel would kill 3 more soldiers. I added them to the list of squad KIAs. It took the dropship 37 seconds to make impact with the ground. I knew the pilot was still barely alive, guiding the ship towards the best possible crash landing she could find before her blood loss would overcome her strength of will. I added her to the list of mission-wide KIAs. When the dropship finally crashed, both Corporal Rodrigo Cota and Organa Karen went KIA, their brain and heart activity ceasing the moment of impact. However, I could not observe their death, for I had decided to hold on to Private Second Class Rigby Martez, attempting to prevent him from facing the same death as his fellow comrades. In the end, it was just me and Private Second Class Rigby Martez within the flaming hulk of the dropship. Every other soldier on board was KIA. Yet I was only with a few damaged servos, compromised circuits, and an overall bruised figure. Private Rigby Martez, on the other hand, had multiple shards of debris inside his ruined armor, and to make matters worse, some of his lower innards beginning to leak out. I immediately laid out Private Second Class Rigby Martez on the remaining floor of the destroyed dropship. Private Second Class Rigby Martez, you are severely injured. May I request to aid you? My voice was cold, ruthless, not the sympathetic and joyful voices that humans had. He tried to talk, yet with every movement of his lips came only more blood. My optical HUD pointed out what could have been impeding his speech. I have noticed a large shard in your lower right lung, Private Second Class Rigby Martez. I will now begin to remove this shard. Though my arms were primarily armed, I still had 3-fingered manipulators attached to each arm, and using these I slowly extracted the shard from Private Second Class Rigby Martez's lung. Yet I was unable to understand what Private Second Class Rigby Martez actually felt. The world of pain he was currently in, as he screamed for every centimeter the shard moved away from his lungs. Private Second Class Rigby Damn it, Asphalt! Just call me Rigby. No more ass-kissing formalities anymore, Asphalt. He looked at me, right at my optical sensor, pity in his eyes. Please! I was surprised by the sudden allowance of informalities. Protocol dictated to disregard such commands. Yet, I overrode the protocol under the premise of combat emergency. You currently have several punctures across your entire torso, several critical organs or either exposed or damaged. You have over 39 shattered bones. I expect you to... I stopped speaking for a second, contemplating the next words I would emanate. To face irreversible side effects within the next few minutes. Rigby seemed to chuckle, his own mortality somehow inspiring the idea of comedy. I looked down at his wounds. His stomach and intestines were open for me to see. Shrapnel was embedded all over his body. Blood was leaking from every point imaginable, and I could do nothing about it. I do not know any form of medical aid. I now stare not at his wounds, but at his face. I am sorry, Rigby. The cold words give me a realization. I had failed. He may have not been my objective, but I had failed him. I failed Domino Squad, and I felt shame. Shame for my failure. Rigby coughed up some more blood. Then, with the remnants of a smile, he spoke. Don't look so down, you big bucket of bolts. I have failed you. I gazed upon the wreckage of the dropship. I have failed, Domino Squad. Well, I have a new mission for you to carry out then, muttered Rigby. One you can't fail. I gazed upon Rigby. His time was growing shorter by the second. A chance to right this failure would have to be now. What is this new mission? Rigby turned his neck to gaze at the sky, now visible through the sky, gazing upon the battle that still raged on, explosions and flak littering the once pristine atmosphere, as the assault carrier Intrepid sat above in high atmosphere, dispensing death from afar. Just listen to me for the time I have left. Some tears started to form in his eyes. His voice spoke of sadness. Please, I don't want to die alone. He was only 22 years of age, yet he probably had a story that spanned far greater than any I had known. He was born on the world of New Houston, to a family of Martians who had once defected from Mars of old, to what was once just a UN colony, now the capital of its successor, the United Worlds. He had a younger brother and 2 younger sisters. His mother had died in a Starliner incident just after his sisters had been born, but his father did his best to support their family. His family was by no means rich, but his father had dreams, and so did Rigby. They both loved engineering and robotics, and they planned to start their own company, hoping to hit it big within the ever-growing interstellar economy. But then the first battle of New Vega happened, and in its wake the fate of all human stellar civilization was suddenly at risk of being completely eradicated by monsters long thought lost into the deep dark. He decided it was his duty to help, for his family had a tradition of service, his mother a UW Spartan, his grandfather a Martian light infantryman, and both his great-grandfather and mother UN Marines. He never thought it would end like this. Which led to this very moment right here, where he was slowly dying out on a destroyed dropship, having not even been able to gaze upon the savages he had signed up to fight, on a world no one cared about, with the only surviving companion being a hulking warbot. Then, 28 seconds before Rigby's death would come, my last standing orders that I will never forget. He tried to lift himself up, but he had already lost too much strength, so he simply lifted himself up to the best that he could gaze upon me. Asphalt, there are going to be more boys and girls like me out there. They need saving, so please, save my brothers and sisters. Save the Rigbys of the galaxy, Asphalt. His voice was starting to fade away. His end was clearly in sight. And if you can't save them, then please give them a good rest. No, an honorable rest. His heart would stop beating in 4 seconds. Tears started to form around his eyes. Thickening through his eyes and his mouth, with all his strength, uttered his final words. If you ever see my pops again, tell him I always loved him. He flatlined at that very moment. That was the end of Private Second Class Rigby Martez's story. Yet I still had a mission to complete, to follow my last directive order. I buried him and every remaining body of Domino Squad, each grave with their weapon and dog tags dug into the dirt, each one with a cross formed out of metal debris to remember their existence. They may be forgotten on this planet, forgotten in this war, but I will carry on their legacy, their achievements, and ultimately their spirits, For I will forget nothing, for I am Ashfold.
The algorithm reckons you should be watching this video next, and I recommend that you should be always watching my video. So, click with energy! And yes, clicking that does help the channel. Thank you very much. I just want to quickly thank the T5 channel members and patrons. Alithia, Barky, Tryagain95, Beautycure, Meridian117, Cam Maxwell, Casper Arnholt, Jordan Bucksborn, Angry Marine, Albard and Gusta, Savage Patch Papa, and Arcadian.